This is Bruce Springsteen of the E Street Band's 1973 debut album, Greetings From Asbury Park, New Jersey. I'm always before Springsteen on his more up-tempo frantic vocals and on soul ballads, which often tend to be lyrical songs on many of his albums, including this one. The album's main sound is that of the laid-back jazzy arrangements, which tend to be the same flow on most of the soul songs. The backing on this album is a bit less prominent than on later albums, and the E Street Band is not as heavily spotlighted here. Some of the lyrics on this album are pretty unpolished or somewhat bad, which adds to the charm of the faster songs but kills the slower ones. Springsteen often tries too hard to do Bob Dylan-esque rhyming on this album, and oftentimes mimics some of Dylan's intonations. This sort of imitation would disappear very quickly, as Springsteen later would grow style of his own out of the more unique parts of this album. Overall, it is a solid debut with a lot of great moments, but plenty of room to grow. Opening the album as the first track is Blinded by the Light. Up-tempo and jazzy, the song gets a good groove going on. The lyrics are rhyming nonsense, but they also help give the song a memorable whimsy. A good groove and lots of energy make this a great album opener. Growing Up is a very good up-tempo ballad. The lyrics are pretty good, the rhymes are somewhat forced, and the lyrics are in a style that I like to describe as incoherent heartfelt. While listening to it seems to make perfect sense, but if you actually examine the lyrics too closely, they don't seem to be coherent at all. Mary, Queen of Arkansas is an overly slow and boring song. It is one of the album's better ballads because he does sing quite well on it. However, a song with mostly ambient instrumentation lives or dies by its lyrics, and some of these on this song are quite bad. I honestly cannot understand what he was going for with some of the lines on this song. Overall, it is the best ballad of this album, but not as good as the ones on later albums. Does This Bus Stop at 82nd Street features great lyrics that really set the scene, but the song is too short and ends too abruptly. Otherwise, it is a classic Springsteen frantic rock song that's quite enjoyable, but I wish it was a little longer, as the album does feature plenty of slack elsewhere. Lost in the Flood is an all-white song, but too slow, and some of the lyrics are of a dubious quality. The song is a kind of prototype to some of the songs on Born to Run, such as Backstreets or Jungleland, as it does follow similar themes of people losing themselves in the city. Overall, it is a song that would later become outcompeted by later Springsteen songs that do the style better. The Angel is what happens when Springsteen tries to sing a slow, vague song with all kinds of nonsensical religious imagery to try to seem overly artsy. This did not succeed, and Bruce Springsteen should never aspire to become a prog rock version of Bob Dylan. For You is a good and fast song, but with some very clunky metaphors. The lyrics make it hard to tell the consensuality of his relationship with women in it, which isn't necessarily bad writing, but here it comes across as somewhat confusing. Spirit in the Night is easily the best song of the album for me, and one of Springsteen's best altogether. It is up-tempo, features good and mostly cool lyrics, and has a very catchy chorus. The lyrics keep the more over-the-top rhyming, but apply it in a sort of restrained manner compared to the rest of the album. Overall, the lyrics manage to both expertly set the scene and tell the story, and the chorus is great. It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City is another fast song, which I do like. This one feels like it's trying to set up some sort of moral dilemma, as well as getting to an epic walking musical ending, but it never quite gets there. It feels like the first half of a great song that then just randomly ends cutting off the finale of both the song and the album. Springsteen would later approve upon album closers, but this song really feels more like a sketch in a story and makes the album feel quite incomplete, as it feels like it lacks a proper ending. So, before I do my final review of this and give the scores for each song in the album, I will show off the sleeve. It's got a very nice sort of postcard theme here. And turn around on the back, we got some of the lyrics and a very nice picture of Springsteen that looks like a stamp. I quite like that. If we turn it back around, it actually isn't like most album sleeves. This part folds out separately, and it has the back of the postcard with the Springsteen stamp on it again, and some writing including the credits of the album and where it was recorded, and then you've got more lyrics here underneath all the postcard covers them up. I think that's actually a rather kind of smart way of layering this sleeve. It's actually pretty creative, if you ask me. And the actual record is in there. I'm not going to take it out, though, as it does not have a printed liner. It's just a plain one, since all the lyrics are here and on the back. But overall, I think I like how colorful it is. I like the kind of high concept theme of the postcard. I like how it is actually specifically cut, unlike most gatefold sleeves, to actually match this theme, and how there's also kind of two layers of the front of the sleeve. There's this part for lyrics that also has his name at the top, and then if you put this back over, his name's still there, but then there's this postcard kind of cover with these kind of nice photos. So, overall, I give to Blinded by the Light a 9 out of 10. Growing Up, a 9 out of 10. Mary Queen of Arkansas, a 5 out of 10. Does This Bus Stop at 82nd Street, a 7 out of 10. Lost in the Flood, 6 out of 10. The Angel, 4 out of 10. For You, 6 out of 10. Spirit of the Night, 10 out of 10. It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City, 6 out of 10. And I give the album overall a 7 out of 10. And I recommend as my top 3 songs from this album Spirit in the Night, Blinded by the Light, and Growin Up. Thank you everyone for watching this album review, and if you want more like this, comment below and be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you in my next video.